in the garage. Do, 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 do. Yeah, it doesn't have the same ring to it. Also, I'm in a garage. I don't know if you could tell by the lyrics and also the garage door behind me, but I've fallen deep. So this is an advice video akin to talking on the roof, but I'm not on a roof because it's raining and there's germs and the world might start spitting fire. I don't know what's happening. I'm also not going to edit this video, and I haven't looked at any of the advice topics, which isn't a good combination because I'm going to say things. Maybe they'll be wrong, but I'm going to work through them in my brain in front of you so that you can see my thought process and maybe understand where I'm coming from with certain things, and then maybe other things be like, that's fucked up, and I'll be like, you're right, that is fucked up, I'm sorry, I didn't think of that, it was off of this. The cuff, that's not the point. Anyways, advice! Also, other disclaimer, I'm gonna be playing the ukulele, just cause, the aesthetic of these videos, but I don't know how to play the ukulele, and I'm gonna ditch that part super quickly. I don't even know if it's in tune. I like hearing it shake against this, though, that was cool. It was rattly. Anyways, let's start with general advice segment. A lot of the questions have to do with COVID-19 and quarantine, isolation, how you're doing, and I'm not going to cover any of the physical advice like social distancing or masks or gloves because you guys know all of that. You've been hearing it from 18 billion people all over the internet. So I guess I'm going to cover more of the emotional aspect of it, and I know it's been really hard to deal with, and a lot of us at least have been in quarantine for like a month now, and it looks like it's gonna last at least 2 or 3 more months, and it's exhausting, and so I want to point to a conversation that I had when this first started, and this might end up making it sound like I'm self-congratulating myself, but that's not what it is. It's a situation where I feel like earlier in my life, I would have handled it worse, but looking back, I liked the way that I handled the situation because I kind of changed my mind midway through. So when this first started, Tori and I were texting, and we were texting about nothing, and it was just silly and fun. And then she kind of just texts like, I'm scared. And instantly, my thought whenever something like that happens is to reassure them, but kind of in a rude way almost, because I was going to be like, there's no reason to be scared, like here's the facts, here's the statistics, this will cool down, we'll all be okay, but that's kind of problematic because A, she knows everything that I know, and so for me to say that is just kind of talking down to her when she's being vulnerable to me, and it's not really helpful or real, it's just me kind of trying to deny her feelings, which is bullshit. And so that's how I feel like I would have handled it earlier, and that's how I was going to respond. And then as I was writing it, I was like, this isn't genuine or helpful for either of us. So I deleted it, and I just said, I'm scared too, but we'll figure it out together. And I kind of think that's the essence of how I've been going forward with this, is just anything that you feel about this is completely legitimate, and don't let anybody try to talk you down or tell you that you're overreacting or that it's unjustified to feel the way that you do, because that's bullshit. We're all dealing with this in our own ways, and maybe you're being productive, maybe you're not, but you're just surviving day to day. And so I think it's all about cutting yourself some slack and realizing that you're not alone. And I know we physically kind of are alone because of this quarantine, but we're really not, because the entire world is going through it together, and a lot of people at the top kind of suck and are taking advantage of global shifts for their own purposes in every country, in every party, in every state of mind. But there are also millions upon millions of billions of people that are having each other's backs. And I think that's the better thing to focus on, not the 50 people that are loud about it on TV, but the average person that's just like us, that's with us. So we're not alone. We're just stuck inside for a little bit. But we're together, and it's legitimate. However you feel, that's okay. And that's the best advice that I can give for any topic. You can feel however you want about anything. That's called being human. Alyssa Milano wants to know, how do you deal with knowing if you like someone? Dealing with which part? I don't know. Like, how do you deal with the emotions? Because emotions are tricky. I'm going to be honest, you never really deal with them. You can tell them. You could ask them out, and don't let anyone tell you that you couldn't ask them out, because gender stereotypes are bullshit, and I would love if a girl asked me out. And by a girl, I mean Tori. If Tori asked me out, I'd be like, hell yes, let's go. You're paying for dinner. No gender stereotypes. But I don't know, I think it's fun to like people, because that's kind of the entire point. Human connection. You're always meeting new people, and you're meeting types of people that you've never even thought existed before, because we're all different combinations of 6 billion traits. So it's cool when you find a person and you're like, oh, I like your combination, and it's unique, and maybe it'll fit with my combination, and we can combine together and get combining genetically. So yeah, I don't know. Roll with it, because liking someone is nice. It's a good feeling. It's a lot better than disliking someone. Unless you really dislike someone. Oh, that's great. If like a bunch of people dislike someone and you're all talking shit, phenomenal. J. Corey Brown. Sex, sexual health, and education. When you know you're ready with the right person, you know stuff like that. Oh, yeah, you know stuff like that. You should watch the show Sex Education on Netflix, because that is one of the best, transparent, non-biased, hold on, I had to burp. That's one of the best examples of legitimate sexual education I've ever seen. They cover so many different like aspects and spectrums of sexuality, and it's great and very unashamed and unappalled of what it is. And I think that's a really important thing in sex education, is just not trying to sugarcoat it, but just saying this is what it is. So there is a stigma around sex in a lot of places, in a lot of ways, and a lot of reasons, and it's bullshit. So I don't know. I think don't let any of that or any of those expectations or anything, even in like movies or TV shows, try to shape your opinion of it, because sex can be casual, and it can also be super serious and important, and you have to decide for yourself what it is to you with this person and why you're doing it, and if you think it's a good enough reason, and if you think it's the right thing to do, and if it is, then do it. I mean, if you just want to have sex for fun, don't let anybody be like, fuck you, you're going to hell. And if you want to have sex just with the person that you love and get married and just have sex with them, that's also fine too. Live the way that you want to live. I don't know. Don't be ashamed either way. Just be around. Let yourself figure it out. And take time too, because you don't need to figure it out right now. You can wait until you're comfortable. There's no pressure either way for anything. It boils back down to my main point in every single piece of advice. Do whatever you want and don't give a shit about what other people say, because their opinions really don't matter, except if it's mine. Mine really matters. I don't know if I mentioned that part yet. How are you staying positive during quarantine? I already talked about that, but thanks for the topic, Madison. What's a quick and easy snack to make? Well, Adam, I'll tell you. I don't know. Peanut butter sandwiches. I made scrambled eggs with cheese and ham. That took like 10 minutes, so I guess that's quick. The easiest snack is me. No, driving through McDonald's is phenomenal. I've been doing that like twice a week with a mask and gloves, and I feel guilty, but also I don't have food. So I have to go somewhere to get food or I'm gonna die. It's a flawed system, I'm aware, but I'm being safe. Jed and Alex, I need advice on how to become a famous TikToker. Dude, just mooch off your girlfriend's famous TikTok. That's what I do. Gabrielle, some people tell me I'm pretty and I don't feel pretty. What should I do for self-confidence? That's a great question. I don't know. I have very little self-confidence, and a lot of the time I'm like, you're ugly. And that's fine, because I feel like everybody is uncomfortable in their skin a lot of the time. And I don't know. I think you can grow out of it. I'm not really a great person to give advice on that topic, because I'm still kind of uncomfortable in my own skin. But I think the most important part is figuring out who you are, because once you know who you are, you can be comfortable with that. Because I think that's kind of my problem, is there's so many different aspects of my personality, and since I am kind of in this industry, a lot of it is just, I get assigned like one personality, because that's what I have to showcase. So I'll be like the dumb one, or the funny one, or the weird one, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of labeling myself as one thing, because like I said, I'm 6 billion different aspects and facets of different traits and ideologies, and I don't know, I think there's just a lot of self-discovery that's important to building confidence, because there's something to like about everyone. even the worst people sometimes like to sing karaoke at 2 in the morning, and it's a great time to hang out with them. And you just have to figure out what you like about yourself and what you like about other people that you see in yourself or that you want to work towards, and you become the best version of yourself, and then you don't care about any other self or version out there because you're you. So I don't know, that's what I'm trying to do, is just figure out the best version of me in my own head of what I can be, and then maybe I'll like that version. I don't know, that wasn't great advice, but I think you're all very pretty. Don't tell Tori. Hold on. Hold on. Don't go away. Advice for how to get a job. Google it, which isn't sarcastic. There's literally 18 billion jobs that you can do on the internet to earn just some passive income. And you can do any skill set, you can do freelance work in literally any aspect, even if it's just like writing copy for a company, so you write like 2 sentences describing their product, and then they're like, here's $10, and you're like, thank you. Or you can take surveys, you can be a part of like study courses, you can find so many different jobs on Craigslist, on Upwork, on just different stuff like that. So really just figure out what you like and then Google it, and you will find an online market for that job. You can do anything on the internet. It's very overwhelming, and that's kind of part of the problem, is there's too many options, and I'm exhausted. That was the guitar, I promise. This isn't a guitar, it's a ukulele. You can't tell. Perception is warped. The camera adds 10 pounds. When I'm 61. Got any advice for surviving the transition from living on my own to being in a family again for the quarantine? There's a reason I'm in a garage, because I'm currently at my parents' house, because my apartment didn't have food or water or toilet paper, and my roommate dipped, and I wasn't going to be alone for 4 months, so I'm with mom and dad, and I'm exhausted. But it's also interesting, hanging out with your parents for long stretches of time when you're more of an adult than the majority of your life is confusing, because you're kind of on equal footing, almost. Like, not really, but you, even just like in terms of like opinions and conversations, it's like everyone involved is a fully fleshed out human that has experienced enough different aspects of life to qualify their opinion in some way. So, I don't know, talk to your parents like they're not your parents. Just, if they were just a person that you met and you were getting to know them at a party, you'd be like, so what music do you like? Or what was life like growing up where you grew up? And I don't know, it's interesting realizing that your parents have lives outside of you and before you. And like, my parents are both in their 60s, so they had 40 years of life before I was born. And I don't know, it's interesting to just learn more about the context of your family. And you should play lots of games too, because it's a very easy way to pass the time. But also, I think this is good forced bonding for everyone. When I'm 64. How do I tell if I miss my ex, or if I just miss the type of relationship we had? It's been over a year since I broke up with him, and I broke up with him because I just wasn't in the right mental spot to be in a relationship, so there was no bad blood that caused a breakup. Good question. I would say what you need to figure out is, are you happy without him? Because if you're unhappy, and that's why you're having these thoughts, then maybe you're just having these thoughts because you're lonely or nostalgic, or you need something emotionally, or you don't feel great, and so you're kind of trying to regress to your former self where it was more comfortable, instead of because you have a genuine connection with this person. So I think if you can be happy without them, and then you see yourself with them and you're like, oh, this is nice, this is a good interaction, that's when it might be a good time to get together. But if you're doing it because you think it will fill a hole, then that is when you should probably kind of try to consider yourself and your own state first. So, I don't know. Depends on where you're at. Depends on where he's at. Depends on how you guys are doing. I wouldn't say never get back together with your ex, especially if it was just because of, like, a bad mental spot or just, like, a situation. It wasn't necessarily, like, there was something that that happened in the relationship to make you break up. Because people can sometimes just need breaks. You gotta take care of yourself first. So, I don't know. Do what makes you happy at the end of the day. And that's my advice for all of the advice, is just do whatever you want. Nothing matters. We've all put ourselves into structures because 100 years ago someone was like, there's no structure, we should probably make one because people are dying. And a person that is no more qualified than you and I made a structure and was like, that's good. But that doesn't mean it's perfect. And you don't need to stay into any of it in any aspect, be it mentally, emotionally, or physically, except if we're talking about breaking the law, which I don't endorse. So, be happy, do what you want, don't care about other people's opinions, love more than people deserve, accept more love than you think you deserve, and play instruments that you're bad at. And that is every piece of advice that I have for right now. I hope you guys are staying safe, I hope you're staying well, and I hope you're staying. Goodbye.